13 News Now begins with breaking news.
And that breaking news is this: a sailor faces charges in that Oceana jet fuel spill. Back in May, 94,000 gallons of fuel spilled on the base and surrounding neighborhoods.
The Navy is not releasing the sailor's name. The sailor is charged with willful dereliction of duties, giving a false official statement, and loss of military property. Right now, there isn't a trial date set yet, but the Navy is expected to convene a special court martial later this year.
And more breaking news, this time in Isle of Wight, a homicide case there. The sheriff's office recovering a van stolen from Ennisdale Drive, connected to a double murder that happened on Saturday. You see it right there, the picture of the van they recovered. Investigators found this gold minivan in Portsmouth near Silver Maple Drive and Willow Bend Court. They are towing it back to Isle of Wight for processing now. That van belonged to 80-year-old Nancy Starnes and her 58-year-old son Kenneth. Both are shot to death in their home, and police have arrested Kareem Mitchell and Richard Holmes for the homicides. Now today, the Starnes family is reacting to the developments in that case. Hear from them on 13 News Now at 5.
And right now, local help is on the way to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the countdown to cast off is underway now. In about a half hour from now, or about an hour, the USNS Comfort will bring a ship loaded with supplies to the island.
Allie Weatherton is live at the naval station now. Allie, what are officials saying about getting help that they need down there?
Well, Kristina, they say they're ready. They're ready to get there and help. Now, some told me, those sailors, it's like a football team. They're saying, Coach, put me in. I'm ready to get there. Now, take a look at it. The Comfort, it's big. It's huge. It's literally a hospital on water. From x-ray machines, a CAT scan unit, and a pharmacy, and much, much more. The only thing it can't do is an MRI. Now, take a look at it. Over 500 medical personnel and support staff will head there today. Doctors range from general practice, family medicine, and pediatrics. And there's over 1,000 bed capacity. I'm told they have enough supplies to last 30 days and will restock if need be. Now, the Comfort is expected to leave at 1 o'clock today, and they will be there for a minimum of 30 days. Live in Norfolk, Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
Breaking news in Norfolk. Police tell us someone walked up to a man and shot him on Walker Avenue in Berkeley. Police took the 30-year-old victim to Centera Norfolk General Hospital. They don't think the injury is life-threatening. This is a developing story, and there aren't many details out just yet. Investigators are looking into the shooting.
Well, we move back to this now. Other local ships are already down in the Caribbean helping out for in Puerto Rico post Hurricane Maria. Now, this is the latest video of the devastation in Puerto Rico. The landscape is littered with materials that were torn from homes. The USS Kearsarge is one of 15 sea vessels now delivering supplies, helping with evacuations and clearing debris.
Meantime, people have donated massive amounts of supplies but are frustrated that they can't get their shipments to the island. An obscure shipping law called the Jones Act has been seen as a hindrance to speeding relief efforts. The law forbids foreign ships from transporting goods from one point to another in a U.S. territory. President Trump waived the law.
We were focusing on in the first days is making sure that we had the airports and the ports starting to clear so that we could get the continual amount of supplies into Puerto Rico.
Now, people on the island face another challenge. Vital aid is stranded at the country's main port. We're talking food, water, medical supplies that are all sitting in cargo containers. Officials in Puerto Rico say there are not enough drivers to deliver the aid.
Well, the frustration is mounting while those shipping containers just sit on the island's docks. And now the president is defending the administration's response. But the mayor of San Juan calls the situation a story of life or death. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
10 days after Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico, food and water are growing increasingly scarce. Some hospitals on the Puerto Rican island of Vieques reduced to mere triage tents. And thousands of tons of much-needed supplies like food and medicine are left stranded in ports in San Juan.
The total supply chain of distribution has been interrupted.
The president's defending the federal response, tweeting this morning, "The fact is that Puerto Rico has been destroyed by 2 hurricanes. Big decisions will have to be made as to the cost of its rebuilding." FEMA tells ABC that all of their goods have been distributed. And Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Elaine Duke has called the response a good news story, a phrase the mayor of San Juan bashes this morning on CNN.
This is not a good news story. This is a people are dying story. This is a life or death story.
Other lawmakers have questioned the speed of the federal response.
Inexcusably slow and ineffective.
And are now wondering what big decisions on rebuilding the president's latest tweets refer to. Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert insists the president is fully committed to helping Puerto Rico rebuild.
The island authority in general was Puerto Rico, $72 billion in debt. There's a restructuring effort underway. What the president did was acknowledge that publicly and privately.
The administration also points to President Trump waiving shipping restrictions on Thursday and also sending a 3-star general to coordinate relief efforts in Puerto Rico. President Trump plans to go to Puerto Rico on Tuesday, and today, Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Elaine Duke is visiting the island to view relief efforts. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
And we've got continuing coverage of the crisis in Puerto Rico. For all the latest on the island and local efforts, check out 13newsnow.com.
We have more breaking news now. The U.S. is pulling diplomatic staff out of Cuba. Senior U.S. officials say the United States is pulling roughly 60% of its staff out of Cuba, and the U.S. is halting visa processing in Cuba indefinitely. The State Department is also warning American travelers not to visit the country. This follows alleged attacks on U.S. diplomats in Cuba. Experts say this move is a big setback to relations between the two nations, which have only recently eased after decades of tension.
Well, one parent's worst nightmare here in Hampton Roads.
A child finds a gun and pulls the trigger. Hear from neighbors.